Okay, I think we're all ready to go. So I'd just like to take the opportunity to welcome everyone here to the first Semex Beef Australia webinar for 2021. My name's Vaughan Johnson, and I'm going to facilitate any questions that you might have during this meeting tonight, and then we can hopefully we get them all answered as we go through. Due to COVID, we obviously can't travel to North America to view many of the bulls that we would like to do so. So we thought this was one of the best opportunities to talk to Brad Gilchrist live so that you can understand how the bulls are traveling in North America and get the latest information that can help you and your beef operation. Tonight, you're going to see some of the new photos and some of the new videos that we have, along with some very exciting new genetics that we'll be releasing tonight. Semex Australia has worked really hard in the recent years to identify bulls for the Australian market for both stud and commercial use. And you'll see tonight EBVs that are being genomically enhanced, and from the 1st of April, release of data. If you have any questions, you'll have a chat box provided in there. I will ask those questions as we go through the session during each bull. Please feel free to ask any questions that you might have, and then we'll make sure that Cameron and Brad are aware of those questions. During the presentation tonight, we'll be swapping between PowerPoint presentation and videos. So just be sure that there may be some delays during the presentation between these two presentations. This will be recorded for your viewing, or if you're not present tonight, be able to view this presentation after tomorrow or in the coming weeks. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome and introduce Brad Gilchrist, the Semex Beef Marketing Manager. Brad has an extensive knowledge of the beef industry globally and is our resident expert in Canada. He will give you insight to the bull's phenotype and pedigree and some of the stuff that we can't see from our catalogue, and also welcome Cameron Cutler, our beef product support specialist here in Australia. So guys, over to you. Give us a brief introduction of yourself, and we look forward to the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Cameron Cutler, Beef Product Support for Semex Australia. I'd like to welcome you all to this night. We've been looking forward to bringing you something for a little while now. Like Vaughan said, we couldn't do anything last year because of COVID. With the bulls that we've gone out and sought for this catalogue, we feel could offer the industry a lot, both the commercial and in the stud world. Bulls with balance of phenotype and performance, which we feel is important. Like Vaughan said, any questions during the night, we'll wait till after the sires, and Brad and myself will endeavour to answer them as best we can. And I'll let Brad introduce himself now and give us an overview.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to meet virtually with everybody here this evening. I look forward to my next opportunity to come back to Australia again and being able to see some of the great cattle across the country in person. But for tonight, we'll go through this virtually. Again, I'm Brad Gilchrist. I've been with Semex since 2008, and I look after the beef marketing side of things for Semex. So don't sit back and just wait for questions to be answered. Feel free to ask the questions that you maybe have. I think tonight's a great opportunity to pick both myself and Cameron's brain, and we'd be happy to suggest what is going to be best fit your needs. So without too much further ado, we'll get right into it.
So the first bull we have up for tonight is a bull called Montana Elevation 7108, a bull that we were attracted to on both sides of the pedigree. We had Baldridge Colonel C251, which goes back to the Isabel Y69 cow, who's probably had a pretty good influence through our sons here in Australia, out of a Deer Valley All-In cow, who again had a lot of use, did a really good job for a lot of breeders. elevation too, combining that really good calving ease through that good below breed average birth weight through to top 1% for 2, 4, 600 day weight. And then the index is all in the top 1%. EMA there in the top 5% at 10.2. So we feel he's a pretty balanced individual. We've got early progeny on the ground right now. The first calves will be hitting the ground. We know in South Australia there'll be some in Victoria as well. I'll just get Brad. Can you just explain to us a bit more about elevation?
Yeah, thanks, Cameron. And you know, this is a bull that we've been really excited about for the last couple of years. He's one that you know, I think when we look at the foot structure that we have in this bull is really quite impressive. But I also think when we analyze the rest of his phenotype is something that that we really admire as well. And as we'll see in this video that's coming up, you know, this is a bull that reaches out and strides with ease. He's a really long spined individual. For anybody's information, this video was just taken in the last couple of weeks, so this is kind of real time what this bull looks like today in stud, producing semen. Again, lots of muscle shape. I think with that added length of spine and growth that we see that this bull has, you know, he's going to stay true to his 200, 400, and 600 day weights. A bull, again, I think's got a maternal line behind him that can back him and add some value there as well. So not just a bull that's on paper. To me, this is a bull that in person is really impressive individual and one that's structurally sound and we can go ahead and use with confidence.
Very good. Thank you, Brad. We'll just check with Vaughan to see if there's been any early questions coming through.
Just a question will be either for Cameron and for Brad, I guess. Elevation, Cameron, you touched on we have a question around progeny and what we've been seeing around the place and how's the calving ease been, and I guess what's happening in North America around progeny as well.
I'll let Brad answer his part first.
Yeah, so this is a bull that we haven't seen a whole lot of progeny get into the mature stages of life yet, but the few first sons that I've seen have that really good breed character that we've come to see out of this kind of a pedigree. You know, a lot of the kernels tend to have a really nice skull structure to them, and elevation's no different. The progeny that I've seen have that same skull structure, and I think when we analyze their body structure, they're chucked full of red meat. Lots of lower quarter to them, the few that I've seen, and really long spine. I think that's something that this bull has really stamped on his progeny so far, is that length of spine, and that we really like to admire in added performance cattle.
Yeah, the early feedback we've had here, basically we're only talking about month-old calves, but we've had no complaints at this stage for the calves that are hitting the ground, both in calving ease and in calf size. So I would have supreme confidence in the calving ease and the birth weight numbers there, and I think he'll see a lot of use this year. We've had a lot of interest in him so far this year, especially in the last few weeks. A lot of people have asked questions, and I guess the only other question I'd ask Brad, we're supremely confident in his feet, aren't we?
Yeah, so I actually when we were out there getting this video 2 weeks ago, I was able to take you know, the bull's extremely docile. So I walked, you know, as he was standing still in the pitcher pen, I was able to walk right up to him and get a real close up picture and video of his feet actually. That anybody that's interested, we can certainly share that video. Just reach out to Vaughn or Cameron and we'll be able to get that video for anybody that's interested. But again, I was very impressed with how this bull looked in stud, and just you know, anybody that could have the opportunity to come see him in person, he's certainly one that doesn't disappoint.
Very good. Was there any further questions, Vaughan, or will we move on to the next bull?
Move on to the next bull.
Very good. The next bull we've got for the night is Rolex Getty 7068. He's probably our star bull at the minute. We've seen him have a lot of use. He's proven himself now as a calving ease bull, but not just as a calving ease bull, but with growth. Combine that with growth. We've got we'll have yearling sons coming up for sale probably later in the spring, or 18-month-old sons. The people that have used him have certainly been really, really happy with the calves. The calving ease and calf size has been good, which we want for one, but then the growth in those cattle has been really good, and we've had very positive feedback from breeders who have used Gettys. Again, a bull looking at the calving ease there and the low birth, we're really happy with him as far as, like I said, his calving ease is going to stand up, but he still has that growth. So still that 2, 4, 600 day weight that we're chasing, that really good eye muscle area, positive fat, and indexes that certainly don't disgrace him. So I'll hand over to Brad now for his comments.
Yeah, again, I think this is a bull that's been used pretty extensively now in a number of herds here in North America, and you know, it's one thing when we purchase a bull from a breeder and then the breeder, you know, really wants to use that bull back in the program. And I think, you know, if anybody was to talk to Mick Verelek there in South Dakota who raised this bull, this is one that they've used back in their program and extremely happy with how those calves look. Just going to share his video for everybody to see here now as well. But again, this is a bull that we purchased with full intent to be a calving ease sire, and you know, as we started to see some progeny come back, I think that's where we're seeing some of this performance come in. Any of the calves that I've seen again are quite long spined and lots of growth to them. You know, for a calving ease bull, this is a bull that's got some frame and stature about him. You know, one that as we see him set in motion here on the video, he reaches out and covers his tracks quite nicely. A bull that's good footed. You know, I was at the stud where he was a couple weeks ago, but unfortunately for us, he had left stud and is out breeding cows right now. So I wasn't able to get close-up pictures of his feet. But the last time I had seen this bull, he was quite impressive. So this is a sire, I think, that in my opinion, from a phenotypic standpoint, is one that balances up quite true, and again brings a pretty unique phenotype to a calving ease oriented data set.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people speak to us about calving ease bulls, and the general feedback we get is we don't want bulls anymore, or the breeders don't want bulls anymore that are just low birth and minimal growth and no carcass. So we're seeing a lot of people now saying, look, we need that low birth calving ease, but we need either some growth and some carcass, or if we can get all three, that would be ideal. Getty certainly is not far off the mark with having all three. And like I said, the feedback we've had commercially and in stud world with Gettys has been really, really good. We expect to see a lot more use throughout this year, and I think we'll be really excited to see sons, and there's a few daughters being sold later this year. So I think there's still plenty of upside for Gettys going forward. Was there any questions there, Vaughan?
No, we had a question around calving ease and performance, but you've answered them as we've gone along.
Very good. We'll move along to the next bull now. Shivelbein attractive, 45-65. A bull we were really excited to get again. A son of JMB Traction. We have a Frosty Answer, 39-79 cow. The picture probably doesn't really do him justice. He's a big, thick meat wagon. I know there's been some selling in North America and were really well received. Again, we got that moderate birth weight through to a really good mature weight and 2, 4, 600 day weight, and still, you know, his eye muscle there still well above breed average. But a bull that's probably going to make his mark as a phenotype bull, structurally very good. Brad will pass comment on him very shortly. But a bull that we think is really going to stamp his progeny with some really good sound structure and some really good thickness. Just want to make any comments there, Brad?
Yeah, this is a bull that you know, I think in our own lineup here in North America as well is one that probably got overlooked for the first year or two, and now is probably the go-to sire for a number of stud herds trying to raise that next great one in terms of phenotype. There's been a number of sons sell in extreme high, topping sales at 120,000, 70,000, 60,000, and so on. One of the most notable ones that people are going to probably hear about in the near future is a bull called Showman. Again, I think this is a sire that just is phenotypically imposing. When we see this bull in person, he is an absolute standout. I guess where he started to gain traction is that. So any breeders that came to stud and had a look at this bull in person, they just had to ask the question, who is he and what's he about? This is a bull that when you look at his foot structure in person, he's got all kinds of heel depth, a really, really strong footed bull, and a bull that again, I think this picture and video maybe doesn't show it or depict it, but this is a bull that's got a lot of growth, and all of the progeny that I've seen out of this sire do tend to be added growth progeny, and I think there's all kinds of performance in these cattle, and again, he does it with a really, really impressive phenotype. The female behind this sire again is quite strong and highly maternal. Anybody that's talked to Schiffelbeins there in Minnesota, again, they're quite high on this sire and what he's done for their program. Again, been used by a number of purebred breeders, and I think this bull is still at the early stages of his popularity and is only going to continue to move forward.
Very good. And would you say that the progeny over there out of Attractive have been consistent? I think when we talk phenotype bulls in Australia, it's one thing to have them, but we want them to be able to stamp consistently. So would you say Attractive has been consistent in through his progeny?
Yeah, super consistent. Again, I think we're seeing added growth in his progeny, added muscle shape and dimension about those calves. Cattle that are sound, structured, and good footed. Again, I think we've seen some added heel depth in those progeny. A bull that again, I think was a little slow to take off for whatever reason, but now that ball started rolling, he's one we're basically selling semen as it's being produced. And then again, this is another sire that, due to demand, he's going to be going back to peak dot herd here and covering some cows in person. So this is a sire that's highly demanded globally for his phenotypic attributes. But again, I think to your point, Cameron, when we look at some of the growth data between 200, 400, and 600 day weights, he does quite a nice job on paper as well.
Yeah. And you rate him as one of the best footed Angus bulls in our catalogue too, don't you?
Pardon?
You rate him as one of the best footed bulls in our catalogue too.
Yeah. Like I said, I think foot structure when we look at this bull is truly a foot improver for sure.
Yeah, very good. Is there any questions on Attractive, Vaughan?
So a question that has come through, you've talked about the bulls and the sons of Attractive. In regards, this question is how are the daughters going by Attractive, and are they feminine enough? They talk about a lot of power, so I guess it's a relevant question.
I'll get Brad to answer that one. Did you get the question then, Brad?
Yeah, sorry. One more time, Vaughan.
The questions regarding, you've spoken about the bulls, the sons, and the progeny. This question is more about the females, the daughters of Attractive, and what you're seeing and how they're going. Are they calving in yet, and are they feminine, and what types are they?
Yeah, so the oldest ones that I've seen in person are yearlings at this stage, but the females have been ultra feminine through their front 1/3, really angular in through that shoulder. Females that have lots of capacity and depth of body, they certainly have that maternal look to them. I'm excited to see the first ones calve in here in this summer. With going around and visiting some people here, hopefully. As restrictions ease up, but the first daughters that I would have the opportunity to see will have calved here this spring here in North America. And again, the reports that I've got back are that their udder quality is quite good. And I look forward to seeing what those really impressive yearlings turned into this year that I was able to see last year.
Well, that sounds really exciting. Was there any further questions, Vaughan?
Hey guys, thank you.
Very good. We'll move along to the next pool now. Raven Step Up F447. So a little bit of an outcross pedigree on the top slide there through Prairie Pride Next Step 2036 and out of a Prophet daughter. Prophet's been well used here in Australia and so has his son. So we were excited to get one of them ourselves, and we think that Step Up's probably the bull to do it. A bull with tremendous growth, top 5% for 2, 4, 600 day. A bull with a lot of added power and dimension, carcass weight there in the top 5%. A bull that we sought out just for a slightly different pedigree and a slightly different build of animal. We'll head over to Brad now for his comments.
Yeah, and we don't have a video today of this sire, and we hope to get one in them, over the coming months. But I think when I saw this bull last, I think he really exemplifies what we see in this photo. He's really high capacity, deep ribbed. He's really got a bold sprung a rib to him. This is one that when we first brought him into stud, I was pretty excited about right out of the gate. He had a really well balanced look about him, sound structured when we set him in motion. I really liked him through his joint structure, really flat hawked. A bull that I think when we set him in motion is really quite sound, and for the amount of mass and capacity that he has, he really does cover his tracks quite nicely. His dam and grand dam, again from Raven, I think have done a really nice job for their program and great udder structure. So I think combining that with this capacity that he has and overall muscle shape, to me, this is a bull that's going to be able to make some pretty highly functioning females that are going to have that capacity and ease of fleshing to be able to produce and maintain themselves on low inputs. Again, another sire that just has a really nice phenotype to complement his data set.
And Step Up's new to us as of late last year, so we'll have we've got good supply of semen in Step Up, but as we go forward, we'll probably see a lot more usage to add some thickness and real capacity. I think both stud and commercial. I think he probably has use in both. And we're excited to have him. Was there any questions on Step Up, Vaughan?
Yeah, just around docility and what you see in Raven Step Up's docility. The other question was, can you tell us a bit more about the sire in this pedigree in Next Step, Brad? Relatively unknown to Australia.
Yeah, so good questions. So around docility, this is a bull that, the way the Raven program it works, these bulls are developed in large paddocks. So they're out in when we went and looked at this sire in particular, he was out in about 100-acre paddock with another large group of bulls, and so when they're raised in that way, sometimes when we bring them into stud, they're maybe not the most domesticated initially, but this is a bull that once he's had an opportunity to work with people and interact a little bit on a closer basis, this is a bull that's really calmed down and extremely docile now, one to the point almost to a fault where we need to really be a little more aggressive with them to get them to move and get out of the way. So certainly from a docility standpoint, I think this is a sire that's capable of being very docile. I haven't probably had the opportunity to work with direct progeny yet to be able to comment on how the progeny are coming through, but certainly his docility is one that's done quite well. The sire side of this bull, not really well known. I think he's a sire that's sired a few really high phenotype cattle with added data. He kind of a diamond in the rough, and in terms of siring those types of sires. His dam came from Flying V, which is the same program of another sire that we've purchased from, and had a lot of success there as well. Again, I think a sire that can add more phenotype to a data set than what we traditionally see in some of these more data focused sires.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's important with Phenotype too. We've got good balance with there and all in the top 5% for 24600. So that's what we're being asked for and what we're trying to supply. Is there any further questions, Vaughan?
No, thanks, guys. That's all.
Very good. We'll move on to the next bull now. Box Specialist 98, a bullet that I'm pretty excited about myself. He's a Baldridge 38 Special son out of Mock Roof 1686. Seen really good uptake commercially of this bull as a Carbonese specialist with really good top end growth, top 10% for 24600 day again, which we've been asked for. Really good carving ease. Really excited about him. I know Brad's going to comment on him a bit later about how he looked as a yearling bull, and that's sort of why we went after him. We got a lot of guys around here who breed bulls for clients who sell into that weaner sale market, that 12 to 14 month old market. So commercially they need those calves, and stud guys want to breed bulls that are going to hit their clients' market. So Specialist is going to have a pretty big use for Semex going forward the next few years. I'll get Brad to make some comments now, and yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what Brad has to say.
Yeah, this is a sire that I think uniquely enough is an extreme calving ease deal, but typically when we look at these calving ease sires that have this kind of data set, they tend to be a little bit more moderate in terms of their stature. This is a bull that's extreme growth. So when we seen him at 12, 14 months of age, this is a bull that I question, when is he going to stop growing? This is a sire that's got lots of growth to him, and I think is one that can add that to a calving ease type of a program. The other thing, I think, because he's going to be intended to be used in a heifer project, this is also a bull that we're finding quite high fertility data coming back on as of late. So I think this is a bull that if we are looking at heifer projects and we want to increase the frame in those progeny, we want to get females pregnant and to a high degree, and again, keep a balanced phenotype. A phenotype that's got a combination of capacity and muscle shape and growth in a really overall balanced and attractive package. Specialist, to me, is a bull that's going to be able to do all of those things and bring bring a little bit more growth to the table while getting these heifers in calf and coming out with ease.
Very good. And then the other thing too that we often discuss here in Australia, and there's parties are a bit split on, is mature cow weight. And a lot of time when we see that really high 600 day weight, we see a really high mature cow weight. With Specialists, we got the mature cow weight down at plus 91, which is really incredible, because normally if we're talking 140, we're looking at a mature cow weight of probably 140, maybe slightly below or slightly above. So it's a bull that we're really excited about. We've had a lot of use earlier this year commercially. It will have use in stud. But I think the guys that are really targeting, commercial guys that are targeting those 12, 14 month markets, I think the daughters are going to be plenty good enough through that Isabella Y69 cow. That's very smart breeding through there. But the steer progeny from commercial programs are going to weigh heavy. And anyone who's breeding sons to put in bull sales by Specialist, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. So, Vaughan, was there any questions on Specialist?
Just similar question to the last bulls, guys, just around docility and what you see with the docility on Specialist.
Yeah, so and I should back up and echo a little bit here, Cameron, of what you were saying. So when I had said we weren't sure when this bull was going to stop growing at 12 to 14 months, at that stage he was quite large and really had a lot of growth pattern to him. And as he's matured out, he's leveled out in terms of his stature. So I think when we look at what his EBV set is here, and seeing that leveling off in the mature cow weight, I think the same is true in how we saw this bull's growth pattern grow out himself. Back to the docility side of things, again, this is a bull that came to stud extremely docile. He's been docile through the entire program. I think this is probably one of the sires that could be an extremely high docility sire into the future.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think he's got to have a pretty good next few years here in Australia. We'll move along to the next one now. Bramwell high grade 96.51. So Agar Ashland's son of Miss Brilliance cow 651. Again, a bull that when we genomically tested the bulls and we were working out which bulls we wanted to bring in, this guy came right to the front. That really good Covington's daughters, that low birth weight, and combining that with top 5% for 2 and 4 600-day weight. And an eye muscle area of nearly 13, which is just incredible. We talked again previously about having birth, having growth, and having carcass, and I think this fellow is going to be a really exciting bull for us going forward. And those indexes all top 10% with the ABI index at top 3%. So, and a bull that I think is going to have a lot of use this year in heifer programs. Again, stud and commercial. I'll hand over to Brad now for his comments on high grade.
And this is another sire, I think, that just adds to the program of what we were trying to do this year. We were trying to find some sires that had a little higher data sets, but we weren't willing to give up some of that phenotype to get the data. So I think when we look at this sire, I think in terms of balancing phenotype and data, I think he does a pretty nice job. And what we've seen from some of these Ashlands is that they do tend to have a little bit more muscle shape to them and a little bit nicer phenotype than maybe some of the other data sires that we're seeing as well. And I mean, it's always nice to see that Miss Brilliance and New Design on the bottom side, I think, is going to add a little bit more attractiveness, some maternal traits about them, and some capacity. So I think when we look at his overall design and balance, and we compare that with the data set that we have, I think a bull that really exemplifies what we're trying to do in terms of adding a little bit more phenotype to a really impressive data set.
Yeah. And still got a lot of filling out to do, I would think, too. The picture probably doesn't really do him justice, does it, Brad?
Yeah, good point. So this photo is actually taken at a different facility than where he was housed originally. And we took this photo the day after he arrived at the facility. It just happened to line up with when the photographer was going to be going. And so I think in this photo, he's probably still just trying to figure out where he is, and coming off a 40-hour truck ride, probably just didn't do him a whole lot of justice. So I look forward to seeing what this bull can look like as he grows and matures in stud, and we will be coming out with a mature photo of him probably later this summer, North American summer. So in the next three months, we'll have a photo.
Oh, very good. No, I think everyone would look forward to seeing that. Again, I think a bull that's probably going to earn his stripes over the next few years is the Carving East heifer option, but with that bit of growth and that bit of carcass, which will be really good. Was there any questions on high grade, Vaughan?
The questions are similar to the last bulls, also just around docility and the foot quality of this bull as well.
Yeah, so docility on him. Again, I've only had the opportunity to see this bull once, and that was when we were getting this photo. He did probably seem just a little nervous to me, to be perfectly honest. But again, new surroundings, just coming off a 40-hour truck ride. I want to maybe just reserve comment on docility on him. The barn staff certainly haven't had an issue with him. They've been happy to work with this sire and utilize them. So I do want to maybe just reserve judgment on docility for a little bit. But I think a sire that what I saw from his foot quality standpoint, I think was certainly quite acceptable.
Very good. No further questions, Vaughan?
Thanks, guys.
Very good. Move on to the next bull now. Express Ranches Pillar 9723B, new to the lineup this year, and I think only secured earlier this year by Semex, the alliance in Canada. A bull that a bit different in his pedigree. That really good hide, again, that 246 100-day growth where we want it. Top 1% for all his indexes, and a bull that IMF wise was probably one we look to add. A bull at 3.5, so top 10%. Yeah, a bull that you know, going forward, we're probably going to start to look to replace some of the older bulls in our lineup. So he'll be a bull that going forward, hopefully, will earn his stripes and he'll earn his place in our lineup. And I'll just pass to Brad for his comments.
Yeah, and again, a sire that you know, does what we were trying to set out this year and do, and that is add phenotype to some pretty high data. You know, I think any bull that can go and stand at the National Western Stock Show in Denver, you know, and stand there and be accepted in terms of their phenotype is a sire that's got a lot of quality about them. You know, I think when I look at this sire and think what he has done before he started to produce semen, you know, he was part of the champion pen of 3 bulls at Denver Stock Show, which in my opinion is pretty impressive. You know, I think in Denver we see a couple different types of cattle. We see cattle that are up on the hill that are maybe more show focused, and then we see cattle down in the yards that are more performance and commercial focused. You know, and this bull was down in the yards and widely accepted, and again, part of that champion pen of 3. So to me, that really speaks volumes towards what his phenotype is. One that I think we're quite excited about in seeing what he can produce and provide the industry, backed by a really nice female, phenotypic female here that Express Ranches has acquired. And I think a bull that when we combined his impressive data set, or sorry, his really impressive phenotype, along with this quite impressive data set, you know, again, looking at all of the indexes there, ranking in the top 1% of the breed is quite outstanding. And again, when we see this bull in person, he's one that's got lots of lower quarter, lots of muscle shape and thickness, and just overall balanced phenotype.
Very good. Thanks, Brad. Is there any questions on Pillar, Vaughan?
Just a question around 2 questions. One is around docility and how you see docility. I know this bull's in the US, and is this bull likely to have a new picture moving forward to be released later in the year, like we see with Upgrade?
Yeah, so good question. Photo for sure. This is one that's housed in the U.S. still. So he's at a different facility for us, which is added challenge with today's travel restrictions, and that's really why we haven't got a updated photo from sale day yet. Once we're able to get some people to go and get a photo of the sire, though, we will have an updated photo, and I suspect we should be able to get one in the next 2 to 3 months of him as well. Docility wise, again, you know, probably a little harder to see what his true docility is. I mean, this is a bull that was halter broke and taken to Denver. So certainly from just looking at the sire, he's really quiet himself. You know, is that docility due to you know, management and that halter breaking experience, or is he truly a docile sire? You know, I want to wait and see what some of the progeny come out like there. But you know, the bull himself is very, very quiet, very gentle to work with. Certainly not a mean bull by any means. And yeah, look forward to getting an updated mature photo of this sire.
Very good. Was there any further questions there, Vaughan?
No, thanks, guys. You've answered them all.
Very good. Move along to the next bull. So we've got Riverbend Upgrade 8605, a Diablo Deluxe 1104 son, I have a black gold reader 527 cow. Will be one of the first Diablo Deluxes to come into Australia. We did go after him for that reason, and he's going to be a massive growth bull, top 1% for all growth, and that 600 day at nearly 100 plus 180. carcass weight at plus 107, which is getting up there, and index is all top 5%, and still has the IMF there at 2.9, which is good because we do see occasionally those really high growth bulls tend to lack a little bit of IMF, but this fella certainly has that. I think basically from what I can gather, and Brad probably will back me up on this, he's a bull that's going to add a lot of power on some really good structure, which will be really good. So I'll pass to Brad now for his comments.
Yeah, so we've got a nice video of this sire, and we'll just talk a little bit about him here first, and then we'll play the video and then circle back. But this is a bull, again, I think to echo Cameron's comments, he's a high horsepower bull. This is a bull that's going to add some growth. He's going to add some power down through that muscle shape and down through that lower quarter. He's really thick topped bull, a bull that's just got a ton of stifle muscle about him. You know, I think when we look at the pedigree that he's got, you know, being a unique pedigree in terms of the Diablo Deluxe, you know, that's intriguing in itself. But I think, you know, to me, what also is really intriguing is the dam side of this pedigree. So his mom brought $160,000 at auction last year, and two full sisters demanded $100,000 for one and $50,000 for another. You know, I think we're super fortunate that we had the opportunity to buy this bull before his dam sold and before his sisters sold. You know, I think that would have drastically changed what the cost would have been on this sire. You know, I think to me this is a bull that's got, again, all kinds of performance and growth. That's true to his phenotype. You know, he's going to be a larger framed bull. He's going to add growth. But I think, again, when we see that growth in the person, you know, it's nice to see that comes through in the data as well. So I think, again, a bull that's got that added phenotype to go along with his growth and performance. And we'll just we'll share a video with you that we were able to get recently as well. So again, I think from that video, you know, we could see that he's really long spined and tons of growth to him. Just raw power is where I think this bull's going to excel.
So we talk about raw power, but he probably, based on his dam and his sisters, he's got real potential to be a cow maker.
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, udder quality on both his dam and his sisters have been quite outstanding. And again, you know, that his dam didn't sell based solely on her phenotype. I mean, she is a nice looking cow. You know, his dam sold based on what she's produced, and you know, this is a female that's produced this sire, produced two full sisters to this sire. That have all been widely accepted and going to be powerhouses in the Angus industry as we move forward.
No, very good. Thanks for that, Brad. Was there any questions on upgrade, Vaughan?
Just a couple of questions. Just had a question come through on the text. Upgrade and regarding his feet, we can see his feet there in the picture, but can you just explain what you see in his feet, Brad? And also his docility, different pedigree for Australia, so a little bit unknown. So what can you see there?
Yeah, so this is a bull that, in terms of his foot quality, you know, I think these pictures are probably a little hard to look at. I think to me his foot quality was quite good. You know, in that picture, it depicts that he maybe wants to toe out a little bit, but I think that was probably just how he came in and stood on the concrete that morning as we took that photo. To me, I think a bull that's adequate in his foot structure, certainly sound enough footed when we set him in motion. And again, so from the docility side of things, you know, this is a bull that, you know, he's not super quiet in person. He's not one that's going to you know, come at us, and we certainly had a lot of fun with him out in the photo pen when we were trying to get these photos and videos of him. You know, very much a bull that can be worked with and managed. He is not a bull that will, you know, walk over and want you to pat his back kind of thing. But I don't know that we need cattle like that either. I don't think we need cattle that are going to tear us apart, but we don't need cattle that are going to be so docile that they don't want to move and work through some of these working chutes. So I think, to me, this is a bull that's going to fit somewhere in the middle in terms of docility. He's not going to be one that's going to make pets, but I also don't think he's going to be one that's going to make cattle that are going to tear us apart.
Thank you, Brad.
Very good. Thanks, Brad. Move along to the next bull now. Barrel Monument 904308, a half brother to Pillar that we had on earlier, out of the XR Monumental 6056B sire. Certainly in a pedigree on the bottom, a few might notice there with the Tour of Duty 177. Bull with that really good calving ease again and good birth to growth. The all top 10% again for his growth, and yeah, the top 5% there for 24600. Eye muscle area off the charts at 12.3, and the carcass weight there at plus 87, and then still all indexes in that top 5% there. A bull that you know, we were excited to get. A bull that's probably going to add a little bit of numbers, performance data to herds, which will be really good. I'll get Brad to speak now on Monument.
Yeah, again, this is a bull that does have a little bit more added growth again. You know, we purchased this bull from the Verlick program, you know, with hopes that he'd be able to follow in the footsteps of Geddes, you know, produced from the same herd, and Mick there. Again, I think liked this bull quite a bit as we purchased him. This is one that's going to be that calving ease and added growth again, similar to what we had with a few of our other sires. And added carcass traits as well, you know, that we like to see. He is a added growth and long spined individual. You know, I guess if I'm looking at this sire, if I was going to protect him ever so slightly, I would probably do so in terms of muscle shape. You know, I wouldn't call him a flat muscled bull, but he's certainly not one that maybe has quite as much explosiveness in terms of muscle shape when we compare him to our higher growth individuals. But I guess when we look at calving ease sires, we do tend to see you know, we do tend to see that. So I think this is a bull that's probably going to hold true to this calving ease data that we have. I think he's going to add some growth and performance in terms of length of spine and growth. But again, if I was going to just caution anything, it'd be just to protect him ever so slightly on muscle shape. But again, I think a bull that can offer a lot of great attributes to the industry, one that's certainly sound when we turn them into motion.
Very good. Was there any questions on Monument, Vaughan?
No, we're all good there, guys. Thanks.
Very good. Move along to the next bull. Musgrave Colossal 137, a bull that we've had pretty good uptake so far, used in a lot of heifer programs, both stud and commercial. That really good calving ease there, calving ease daughters at plus 10.8, and a birth to growth spread that I don't think truly reflects the quality of the bull. That 1.7 is great. He probably shows a bit more than his 111 600 day weight. I know there's a few breeders not far from me. I know Brad Marston at Grassdale was certainly happy with the progeny he's had recently. He was wax lyrical about them. The eye muscle area there at plus 7.6 probably makes him a bit of a complete package for a lot of guys going forward, both commercially and in stud. Should be on a lot of heifer lists this year. Brad, just for your comments now.
Yeah, this is a bull that's been widely accepted here in North America. Again, I think you know, that the Capitalist 316 pedigree has been really popular in terms of making highly maternal females. One thing I guess that has came through from the 316s is they do tend to be a little bit more moderate. And I guess if I was to compare Colossal against 316, I'm not going to say that he's going to be a large bull, but I certainly think he's got a little bit more growth than what his sire has to offer the industry. One thing that really, really excites me about this bull, aside from his phenotype, is the dam side of this pedigree. I had the opportunity to see her and her grand dam in person, both really outstanding udder quality, really high capacity females that are attractive and in their front 1/3 and middle 1/3, and again balance out quite nicely with some muscle shape and pin width. Really long spined females that just you'd like to replicate over and over and over again. And I think when we got females like that backing a sire, that's where we get the phenotype like that Colossal has. He's really heavy muscled for a calving ease sire, really bold and robust in that rib shape. Again, a bull that's true calving ease, will put some pounds into those calves, and do it in a really unique fashion, creating those really high capacity females that we know are going to go on and turn into highly sought after maternal matrons. We've got a video here of Colossal. I'll just share with everybody. So this video was taken a little bit ago, but I think it still shows his structure and how fluid he is in terms of his movement.
Very good. Thanks, Brad.
Just a quick question for you. Just a quick question. What frame do you think Colossal females will be?
Frame score I think is going to be, high fives is probably where I would put the Colossal bull at. I think he's a bull that's like I said, going to add a little bit more frame compared to what his sire is. But I think he is a bull that isn't going to be quite as added growth as some of our other sires that we have that are going to be able to put a little bit more performance in there.
Very good. Move on to the next bull now.
Yeah, so I apologize here. I think I'm going to have to just stop sharing quickly. I think we're missing a bull somehow in this lineup. So just bear with me 1 second and I will
While waiting, has anyone else got any questions there? No, we'll take that as a no.
Sorry, there's just one sire we'd like to share with everybody, and somehow we lost him from our presentation. So we're gonna be with you momentarily. We're just working on trying to track down this sire that we are really excited about. I don't know, Cameron, maybe do you want to just introduce the bull quickly while we're pulling this up? The bull's name that we're pulling up is Nevada, and again, I think this is a bull that a new photo that we just got, I think, is really going to excite breeders and be able to use this data with confidence.
Yeah, Raven Nevada's a bull that we're really excited to have it come into our program. I think he's going to be a good replacement for Gettys in the near future. He does himself track back to Broken Bow. He saw Spring Cove Reno being a Broken Bow son. Really excited, really good data set, again, performance, and that's what we've tried to chase in our program here in Australia is bulls with phenotype with performance, which we get asked to supply, and that's what we need to do. So a bull that when we saw the pictures recently and the new videos that Brad will have up here in a minute, really just reassured the fact that we'd made a really good decision bringing him in. Bulls that are balanced, we've found really hard to come by sourcing for our program. So we are really excited to have Nevada come on board, and we're very anxious to get him out to you guys tonight. He was the new bull that we were going to launch. He's probably not had the really nice entrance we were hoping for, but we got there in the end, Brad. But yeah, a bull that carving ease again with that birth to growth that we're really those bulls are hard to find, and we're really excited to get him. That 2.3 to 135 is plenty good enough for a heifer bull, and still has that carcass weight in the top 10% and the eye muscle area in the top 5%, and indexes too that certainly flatter him. And IMFs, there's plenty of IMF there for a bull. We'll probably see a lot of commercial and stud use again. I know I keep saying that, but I really believe that bulls with this sort of data set and phenotype can go basically anywhere in the industry in Australia, and that's what we work really hard at Semex to do. I'll pass to Brad now for his comments.
Yeah, again, sorry about the entrance of this bull, but again, I think he's one that's worth waiting for. This is one that we're really excited about. He's one that anybody that saw the photo we had in the catalog, maybe he probably didn't excite a lot of people, but we weren't able to get an updated photo until just last week on this sire. He did pick up a little bit of hardware, and he was quite sick there for some time. So it took us a bit of time to bring him back to health and get this kind of a photo. And now when we see him in stud, he's quite impressive. This is a bull though that I think speaks volumes when you talk to a breeder like Raven Angus there in Nebraska. This is a bull that when we purchased this sire, they were really reluctant to relinquish any of the breeding rights and the share in this bull, because this is a bull that they wanted to use back in their program. To me, I think when a breeder is that dead set on using a sire in their own program, I think that speaks volumes to what the cow can do. We've bought a number of bulls from Raven now, and this is the one that they're the most excited about in terms of using them back in their own program. So I think when we look at his overall bone structure and soundness, we look at that muscle shape that he's got and capacity with a really attractive look and presence about himself. Combine that with this data set, again, I think a bull that's going to have a lot of friends and a lot of use. And we do have a video of this sire as well that I think, again, shows that he reaches out and covers his tracks quite nicely. And I think we'll be able to view it here now as well to help give everybody a little bit more of a view of what he can do.
Very good. Thanks for that, Brad. Is there any questions there, board, for Nevada?
No, you've answered most of the questions around the similar questions as we've had before around docility and foot quality. If you've got anything else to add for that, please also follow up with that.
Very good. Move along now to Rhombus, triple-bind Rhombus 4937. He's a SAV renowned son out of a Frosty Elba cow. Bull that's now limited in his semen. A bull that we've thought was worthwhile having on tonight. I think he would have the people that have used Rhombus here in Australia have been really pleased with what they've bred from him. Again, a bull that's that top 5% for 2, 4, 600 day, and a bull that, as far as the overall thickness and phenotype, has probably stamped his progeny really well. You know, like I've mentioned before, he's just starting to run out of semen here in Australia, but you know, I think he still has the right to be on the cards tonight. So I'll pass to Brad now for his comments.
Yeah, I think this is a bull that when we look at his picture here, I think really exemplifies what the bull's about. You know, there's not too many Angus bulls in the breed that have this much lower quarter and stifle muscle and muscle shape. You know, he's just a raw power bull. You know, he carries that thickness over his top line, right up over his shoulders. And again, I think a bull that when we look at his pedigree and we look at what the bull is in person, to me, I think he gets a lot of his performance and weight from that dense muscle and red meat that he has just chucked right full of it throughout his skeletal structure. So again, I think a bull that if we're looking at adding muscle shape and performance through dense muscle, I think this is one that we can certainly use with confidence.
Thanks, Brad. And the females from this fella, they're going to be good enough to stay in herd. His dam's a pretty handy cow. Is the progeny of Rhombus being well received?
Yeah, really well received. You know, anytime I think when we see 4136 that close in the pedigree and the Elba cow and the 954, you know, I think that combination of those two females on the top and bottom side are really going to make for outstanding udder quality. And I haven't seen any Rhombus yet wet, but I think you know, the ones that I did see through their yearling stage here, I think certainly looked the part to be able to turn into those highly maternal females.
Very good. Was there any questions on Rhombus, Vaughan?
No questions, just a few other questions on some of the other bulls as we finish up on the last bull.
No worries.
So we'll just a few questions. I know we touched on them, but we'll go through and answer these questions as we go through. Elevation was the first bull in the presentation. We had another question around his docility and how you find his docility, Brad.
Yeah, so elevation again, you know, I think Vaughn, you've got a video there that I think we can share with customers if they want to see it. So the video that Vaughn has that we can pass around with anybody was taken while the bull was out in the photo pen. You know, and typically when we put bulls out in the photo pen, it's, you know, it's a new environment and there's all kinds of weird sounds and sights and things that were, you know, intended to excite a bull to be able to get their attention and be able to get that really nice photo. You know, and some bulls react differently to it. You know, elevation, he was not fazed by, you know, I think we could have light a firecracker off in front of him and he'd just kind of stand there and look at us. So, you know, this is a bull that I'd be quite confident in, you know, in using for a high docility sire. I think this is a bull that's very docile in person.
Thank you. And the next question was around availability, Cameron, and are all these bulls that we've presented tonight available, or will they be available very shortly?
Yeah, the bulls that we've presented tonight have all got pretty good supply. There's a few bulls out of North America, which Pillar is one of them, that we will have good supply. It's not as convenient to source as it is from Canada, but we are able to have pretty good supply. The only bull that has limited supply left in Australia that was tonight was Rhombus, but all the other bulls we've got pretty good supply out of Canada and America, and we've already got semen here pretty good, ready to go for this autumn.
And one last question was around mature cow weight and upgrade. You see, how do you see his mature cow weight at 167? He's obviously a high growth bull. Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
I think that when we talk about, and I did mention before that there are bulls that have high 600-day weight, and the compromise there is the mature cow weight on your females will tend to be a little bit higher. There is an exception to that, which is Specialist, who's 600-day weight at 140, but near 140, and his mature cow weight's at plus 91. I think you'll be hard pressed to find too many bulls in Australia that have that extreme 600-day weight without some compromise on mature cow weight. Like I said before, there are people that are loving high mature cow weight. They talk about salvage value on the cow at the end of her time, and overall just the bigger cows that they are happy to present. Other people don't want those big cows. They talk about efficiency and the big feed intake and feed efficiency that goes with those high growth cows. I think it's up to the individual to decide whether that number is excessively high or not. But to have a bull with nearly plus 180, the compromise there is going to be a high mature cow weight. Brad might want to say something else on that, but that's about what I can comment here in Australia.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think what we're trying to do is get sires that can grow fast at an early age, and then as they mature, we want to see them level out to be able to maintain body condition at an easier level and at lower inputs. So I think some of these sires certainly do that, and that definitely is one that does it with ease.
I think to wrap up that question too, Brad, it'll come from me, is the mature cow weight on the dam of Upgrade, was she an excessively big, heavy cow? Was she a sort of middle of the range growth cow?
Yeah, to me that was more of a middle of the road cow. Now that is one female that I didn't have the opportunity to see in person. From what I heard and was able to gather, is she's probably more of the middle of the line. He's getting a lot of that power and performance through his sire side of it. I mean, she's certainly a powerful female, but in terms of growth, I'm not sure that she's excessively large by any means.
Very good.
That's it for our questions here, guys, and we've certainly gone over time and we've gone through a lot of bulls, so I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you guys for presenting here tonight. I hope everyone has got something out of the webinar and certainly helps you benefit in your breeding program. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank Kayla Walker and Maria Dixon. They work hard behind the scenes to be able to give us the presentations and all the marketing material that we have, both globally and here in Australia. And what they do behind the scenes is really appreciated. Finally, thank you for joining us, all of us. You'll be able to contact us anytime via the Semex website, our mobile phone numbers or emails. If you want any further information, please contact either Cameron or myself. Our next journey will be off to Beef Rockhampton in the next couple of weeks for early May. So we will have a stand there and we will be there available for you to answer any questions. And we certainly look forward to catching up with everyone at Beef Australia. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you very soon in the near future. Have a good night. Thank you.
Take care.